All right. How are you, Jolene?
I'm great. You know what? I was just tweeting earlier that it wouldn't be Seattle Tech Week without some technical difficulties.
At all, but
How are you
we are
doing?
here. I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing pretty great. It's Seattle Tech Week. For those of you that don't know, if you watch the Come Up series from afar, if you're not in Seattle, clearly, it's Seattle Tech Week, where we get to see some of the innovative companies that are coming to the forefront. The VC community is very active. A lot of things are going down, and so it's pretty cool. Um, I'm excited, like just because of the fact that I'm a fan of innovation. And
Hmm.
so I guess we wanted to do something a little different today. Now, for those of you who are wondering, like, why aren't I there at the wonderful FTC headquarters there with the GCEO? Butter had an accident, and it actually happened on my birthday. And since then, he's been pretty much getting nursed back to health. So we get to return back to the office tomorrow. But yeah, so excited, but there's a lot for us to discuss today. So let's kick it in standard format and formation. In a row, accompanied by my wonderful co-host, co-producer, and co-creator in all things galactic. Give it up for none other than the wonderful.
It's your Lindsay in the place to be. What does it, cousins, on this fine Tuesday for Seattle Tech Week?
Yes, and this is the Come Up series where we talk about anything between innovation, stock market, startups, and everything in between. I love it. So,
We do
Jolene,
have new people though
you
joining us
do.
today from Seattle Tech Week. So I want to definitely, of course, say what does it, cousins, to all of the cousins. But then also to Seattle Tech Week, those of you that are maybe you're in Seattle currently, welcome to the Come Up series where we talk about startups, we talk about innovation, tech, investing, all of those things. And today we are going to be talking about AI as a feature.
Mm,
Now, Mark, we this is definitely something that we'll just be touching on because September 18th through the 20th, we have Tech Wealth Summit, and tickets are
do.
currently on for that. And that's in Seattle, downtown at Motif, the Hilton
Yes.
property. So we're excited about that. There'll be a lot of speakers there. Tickets are currently on sale. So if you go to the techwealthsummit.com, you can get more information about that amazing event. Mark, is there anything you want to highlight in particular that you're excited about?
Um, I can't wait for the build with AI segment that we have. Like, I'm really, really excited about. Should I just let the cat out of the bag? You know.
I mean, you might as well.
Okay, so shout outs to like you know how we do here at the Come Up series. We always try to give you a dope come up, and so one of the things that I noticed last year was like I was approached by a lot of future founders or folks that were thinking about ideas that were looking to build them, and I just said don't have all the bandwidth and the capacity to build every single one of them. But wouldn't it be cool if individuals were just able to use just their natural language and their
Hmm.
ideas and how they explain their idea to literally build it using AI? So I talked to our friends, our newfound friends over at Bolt by way of StackBlitz company. And so pretty much what we are working on is essentially all folks who attend the summit will receive pretty much free access to Bolt for the whole summit event. So then that way you can literally build your project using AI. So you'll literally be able to build that at the summit. So
Well, what I appreciate about that, well, number one, just so for those of you who don't know, I feel like I can't
at the
gesticulate.
ends,
That for those of you who don't know, I do not have a background formally in tech. My background is in primarily in art and law. However, I have already built two apps using Bolt's platform, and I have ideas for days, always the ideas, but to actually be able to just speak in normal language
Mhm.
using Bolt's platform, I was able to create 2 MVP apps. So I'm really excited. I will probably be building more at the summit.
Mhm.
And what's really cool though is being in a room with all of those innovative thinkers can really take your idea to the next level. But Mark, you mentioned, being able to leverage AI to build an app. And like right now, I feel like we went from AI as kind of like the product
Yep.
to now, how do you leverage AI? And I feel like that's the name of the game, wouldn't you say?
I agree 100%. Like, of course, you have a bunch of AI products out there that are purely just AI, but then at the same time, you also have, and then AI just happens to be a simplified feature that only enhances the product or the services in which that you provide. So, yes, I would 100% agree with that statement.
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today, but let's get into really kind of peeling back where we are now as it relates to AI. Because we're talking about how there's all this hype, AI has really been used as a buzzword, right?
Yep.
But now we get to look at it more so, kind of went through that phase, right? So now we're looking at these companies that are really using it as infrastructure and not just oh, that's my auntie. Hey. Not just innovation. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. So where would you like me to start first?
Okay, let's start with talking about how we can start to think about AI as a feature and not just, like something that you'll see splashed across headlines.
Yeah, so let's break that down real quick. So when we think about AI services, right? Like if we're
Mhm.
looking at like AI as the overall product. So you would think about like simple things like LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, even say for example Perplexity, where some people will say Perplexity is an AI like 100%, but yet at the same token, it's probably using the AI features that's building on top of it to create this powerful search engine slash knowledge gatherer, where it's a strong feature. In other arenas, and we're seeing it across the board, right? Where, say, for example, Apple is making a huge bet where they're saying that AI isn't the whole show, it's just a feature. Whereas with NVIDIA, we see the company NVIDIA where they build semiconductor products that focus on AI or that can handle X capabilities in AI, but then they is building the software tools that ultimately enhance the AI that are features that attribute to, say, for example, the hardware. So when we think about those types of things, that's what I think about when I say AI as the feature as a feature. It
Mhm.
still doesn't separate, say, for example, you can't have NVIDIA without NVIDIA chips.
Right.
That's the main course, the chips themselves. Now they have neural processing and all this other stuff within them, but yet at the same token, the feature is essentially the tools and the software services that they build and also unlock capabilities for, which will ultimately lead us to this next wave future after we get past phase one of this AI hype cycle. Um, which I'm probably sure that you're going to ask me a question about later.
You're
Um,
going to.
okay.
I'm gonna ask you
Uh,
later. We got to, lay some foundation and some context first.
okay. And essentially, like, if you think about it, we went from like, we've been dealing with artificial intelligence for probably over like 15, 20 years now. So
Hmm.
artificial intelligence isn't something new. It's been around for quite some time. Like when you think about it in the sense of how we come across and how things have ultimately, you know, using AI functions and features to build recommendations using machine learning. Or when we think about a Boeing using digital twins to essentially just expound upon the work that its existing employees are already doing to essentially improve and also increase the workflow or to improve the workflow process efficiently. So that way, essentially, we're not like slowing down, we're actually getting things done a lot faster. Those are all features when we think about it in conjunction with what already exists. And I see that happening across the board when we look at it. There's no such create something that's just AI is the main course
Hmm.
and nothing else. It's like, of course, unless you're just a pure AI company. But even you could take even a Palantir where AI is the feature. You could take any company that you throw into the conversation, you will probably say that AI is the feature that builds upon, say, for example, the product or services that already currently exist.
So basically, what I hear you saying is that we don't have to build AI in order to benefit from it. You
No, because
just
it's
we
it's already there. Like, you're just expanding upon tools. Now, of course, if you want to build a better AI, you know,
go for it.
like I'm not going to stop you from doing that at all. And the world will probably appreciate yet again another player that throws their name into the hat. But essentially, you're probably going to see this antithesis after we get towards like the end of phase one within this journey of euphoria within AI, where we will probably have to take a step back and say, okay, hey, well, some of the things that currently exist, do we really need them? Do we not? How valuable really are they? And then they will probably get flushed and then probably even gobbled up for bits and pieces. And then you'll see some of the other players will probably start to ascend and essentially take leadership within a market, and then opening up a new wave for the next set of companies that ultimately build upon like industries and sectors that honestly haven't really seen that much amount of innovation as much, or hasn't really participated in this AI cycle. So when we start to think about infrastructure, when we start to think about government, when we start to think about some of your brick and mortar, not only products and services, but also even small businesses as it pertains to consultancies, you're starting to see those things start to take shape. So again, it's like we're still at the very, I wouldn't say that we're in the early innings. I would say we're probably in like we're probably in the seventh inning of the hype cycle, like coming close to its end of phase one.
So I'm going to ask you when you think it's going to end, but I don't want you to answer that yet.
Okay.
So put a pin in that for now. But um, okay, so we think about the companies, some of the top companies you already mentioned, like NVIDIA, using AI as a feature, but
Mm-hmm.
even companies like Netflix who
Mm-hmm.
use AI for, recommendations, or Spotify for curated playlists. Um, AI is not the thing that they're boasting about, right? It's going to be one of those things where it's just in how we roll, right? We're entering this new realm where AI is just literally going to be a part of everything. And so as we're thinking about so those companies, I wouldn't even consider those necessarily like the legacy companies. But if we're thinking about older companies that are more so under that legacy branch, how are those companies using AI as a feature?
Wait, say that one more time. The last part.
Yeah, how are legacy companies using AI as a feature? I'm talking about like, the old school companies,
A lot of
the
them
bigger.
aren't using it. A lot of them aren't using it yet. So essentially, a lot of them are going through that whole phase. Like when we think about the legacy-based companies, especially your
Mhm.
big companies, they're trying, but at the same token, they're nowhere near there yet. Like you remember that phase like last year where everybody during their earnings period was mentioning AI as a
Yeah, because
buzzword in their earnings, and then ultimately their stock like literally was popping. Um, but when we look at it, it's like there's really nothing there yet.
right. But see, we're in that phase now. Like I can't even adjust my glasses without the camera. Okay.
You can just
So
raise your hand again, and then it will stop.
it just blinked at me. Um
See,
so
that's the AI camera.
that's the AI. Look at it, it's everywhere. But even on earnings calls now, companies cannot get away with using the AI as the buzzword, but we can see AI playing out in productivity, right? And in the margin, like using AI to increase that bottom line. So that's
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that we got to pay attention to when we're talking about how AI is a feature in some of these companies, but
Mm-hmm.
from an investor standpoint, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess also to put it, because it's Seattle Tech Week, right? So where would I be without even like startups out there,
Right.
for founders, don't really focus that heavily on, especially if you're pitching, don't really focus that heavy on the AI. The AI is just the supplemental, like I said, the supplemental feature that ultimately unlocks things. Like, but focus more so on like what does the actual product or the actual service do. Um, I think a lot of startups are failing in that regard of trying to chase the hype and the buzz of using AI or saying, "Hey, we're an AI tech company," and all this other stuff. And it's just like, okay, but we all know that you're probably using, you know, OpenAI, Claude AI, or
Mhm.
Anthropic, or even Meta AI for on the back end software development kit. So, I mean, when we think about like the application platform interfaces, so you know honestly, I would truly say, like, the what's really going to have staying power is what the product and the actual service can truly do, that ultimately, solves the problem. The AI just maybe accelerates it, but yet at the same token, it's like it's the true product and the service that literally feeds towards the actual need within the startup community, but we're also seeing it within, the stock market side, where companies on the stock market are ultimately going through those same types of challenges. So again, it's like, just because a company throws AI into the mix doesn't make it a good company all of a sudden. They don't just go from being a terrible company overnight, and just because they add in AI functions into their workflow means that they become better. No, if your company
Right.
was trash from day one, you know, it just became trash yet faster and more efficient.
That's hilarious. Basically, it's like don't get distracted by the companies that are just tossing around, just that phrase as a buzzword. Look for the ones that are looking to integrate it. So Annette says the companies of tomorrow exist today. I didn't see the rest of it though.
The companies
Familiar.
of tomorrow exist today. We're just not familiar with them yet as a household name. That is correct, but they will be soon. They will be.
I feel like many, in the audience right now could say we don't know them yet.
It's okay. I mean, like, a lot of times the general masses don't know about these companies until either they're being acquired,
Mhm.
or they're looking to go public. Or if you just happen to hear about them, say for example, reading TechCrunch or GeekWire, I got to give a shout out to the, shameless plug to the local tech news. By the way, your boy was into GeekWire recently, so if you go on GeekWire and look up Seattle AI, shameless plug, Mark Monroe's in there. Uh,
Yes.
um, but yeah, so but yeah, unless you're hearing about this company raised Series A at 43 million or 36 million or whatever, or a seed round at $6 million, nine times out of 10, you're probably not going to hear about it, which sucks. And like really be revitalized by, their startup community. Like, here's a stat for you, Jolene, since we're in Seattle Tech Week. Did you know that every state's GDP, I would probably say, like, well, I can only speak on behalf of Seattle, so I'm only gonna shameless plug again for Seattle.
Mhm.
50% of Seattle, Washington's GDP is startups.
All right, shout out innovation. And I bet you the majority of that though is from Seattle, of that 50%.
You said what?
I said I bet you the majority of that 50%, whatever we're contributing, is primarily from Seattle, not Washington State as a whole.
No, Seattle. I
Yeah.
mean, then you got, with a splash of Bellevue, but and Redmond.
But I think it's gonna increase out in Bellevue, the
Oh yeah,
contributions.
I mean, Bellevue is a
That's
city that's ultimately it's growing up. I mean, you're seeing a lot of those cities start to pop up where they're growing up. I mean, remember once upon a time, Boulder, Colorado, nobody heard about it until startup community like literally started to blow it up. I mean, I think one of the interesting things to pay attention to is North Carolina. Because
Ah,
remember there was billions of dollars being pumped into North Carolina.
I remember.
Apple was dumping billions of dollars into the AI innovation hub.
Mhm.
That was a few years back now. So is construction done now? Somebody look on, like, actually, that's a good question. Like, somebody look up in the chat, like, is North Carolina there yet? Like, have they finished their innovation hub? Like, and if they have, I want to know what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue. So we talked about the companies, we talked about a couple of startups. Now, how is AI shaping sector wise?
Ooh. So you're probably going to see health tech definitely be a huge booster,
Mhm.
given in the sense that you also had, like, innovation dollars mixed with a little bit of deregulation for essentially for things to move faster. So I think that that's going to be an arena that's definitely going to probably have a significant amount of investment going through. We would love for ed tech, but I mean, ed tech, the problem with here's the problem. Here's the problem with ed tech startups. Ed tech startups literally, like, when you're dealing with academics, it's kind
Mhm.
of like the problem is that they move like academics still.
It's the red tape
And it's the
policies.
think about any sector that has strong bureaucracy and any sector that's ultimately looking to remove the bureaucracy from the foray, then essentially those are the companies, or those are the sectors in which that they are ripe for the picking. I mean, technology is going to be technology, and like I said before, it's just interwoven itself into every single sector. As much as people want to fight it, run from it, whatever you want to do, run for the hills. Sorry. um it's going to be interesting to see also what agriculture looks like,
Uh,
um because clearly, like, certain things have been kind of decimated lately. So I
mhm.
want to know, like, what does that look like over the next 3 to 5 years of what will agriculture, like, how will it benefit from, like, a tech wave of innovation that comes through. um yeah, so I would say that.
Okay, so um, let's talk a little bit about
Oh, somebody just responded in the chat. Apple paused their facility here in North Carolina. Okay.
interesting. Well, sorry, I'm getting distracted by things happening in the office right now. Okay, back to what I was saying. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about like public market strategy. So
Okay.
how we go about identifying companies that are using AI like as a feature, what we should be looking for, and then maybe like some public companies to watch
Hmm.
in this.
Okay. So don't want me to give the cheat codes, but you want me to give the cheat
Well, I'm
codes. I
saying like
mean,
just give us, a little sampler. But we'll
oh,
need
that's
to go in more debt. Oh Lord. Okay. I feel
you
like there's
know,
prop coming. Are you bringing
I feel like the Shade Gang had to get updated.
okay. Here we go.
So the
Oh
Shade
Lord.
Gang is back.
Hey, Mark.
But we look a little different. If you haven't noticed, like, if you know, there's the company. Um, so
Better fans. All right.
yes.
Mhm.
So there's that. Um, okay. So looking at how can you spot?
Mhm.
Well, if you're making AI is ultimately there to make things more efficiently.
Right.
It's like saying if it's company's trash, and no, it's trash. Um, but things to look at as it pertains to early signs that essentially that AI has infiltrated. Either one, capital expenditures, so capex spending has increased.
Mhm.
So because of the fact that when capex rate rises, then that means that essentially that companies are making the investment into improving or upgrading their infrastructure. So that could be either they're going on an acquisition spree, which as we go into the second half of this year, look,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I'm just saying, don't say
Mark,
up a
you
little
cut
bit
out.
more.
Say that again because you cut out.
I cut out. Hold up. Let
Yeah,
me
you
repeat. Okay, so I would say don't be surprised if you see acquisitions on the rise in the second half of this year, going into 2026.
okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
So
Thanks.
capex spend. If companies have already incorporated their AI, if you want to know if it's gotten better, then you should
Mm-hmm.
see that revenue growth has improved and profit margins have also improved. Because when incorporating artificial intelligence, whether it's machine learning or whatever it is, then that should make, like I said, as it makes things more efficient, you're spending is going higher, then that means that
Mm-hmm.
profit margins should be better.
Okay.
So earnings growth, revenue growth, capex spend, if they're making the investment, goes higher. If they've already done the capex spend, then capex, if they've already made the investment, and let's say they made the investment like 2 years ago, then capex
Okay.
spend should start to come down, revenue growth and profit margins should start to go higher. There's your cheat code.
All right. Give us a company that kind of fits that trajectory.
Okay. Lord. There's so many. But I'll give you a company that's in Alphabet and Meta. Their capex spend is still high,
Okay.
which means that they're investing heavily, which is perfect, right? Because of course we got Google VO3, which by the way is dope for their generative AI video. I mean, they're really giving certain things a run for their money. Have you not seen that IKEA like video generated?
No, I didn't see that.
I may just upload that and share with everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's changing the way that we're going to like. I think that that's ultimately going to bring Vine videos back. By the way, just as a heads up.
Oh, a great time.
Um,
Great time to be on the internet.
so yeah, I would say that those two are their capex has gone higher.
Okay.
A company in whom which that their capex is starting to come down, and so we're going to probably start to see that their revenue growth is starting to improve or is getting better. Is I would say take a Netflix, because a lot of folks don't realize that Netflix has invested a lot into AI. Like, I think I've said it before, like if you watch Netflix or if you go to Netflix, it now knows, like, it has a pretty good idea of what ethnicity you are,
Mm-hmm.
which is scary and weird at the same time, but yet at the same token, a little cool. Um,
All those custom thumbnails for
exactly.
you.
They did a lot of investment into AI, and just that's just a small subset feature. But they made a lot of investment within AI, and then ultimately now you're starting to see that their revenue growth has significantly like improved. I think their revenue growth grew by 16%. So like you're seeing that essentially, like, everywhere that you look across the board, of course, you can look at Nvidia as the North Star for all of AI. And I think that where Nvidia goes, then so too does the rest of all AI plays. I think that we can say that. Oh, by the way, shout outs to AMD. Score. It's doing high. Whoopty whoopty whoop. Still not done, but all right. So, but yeah, so like as you can see, even like in semiconductor companies, capex has come down, revenue growth is up, profit margins have improved. So again, it's like that's kind of like the formula. I mean, I would probably expect the same thing. Looking at, like, let's say for example, as we see Apple and Microsoft's earnings coming in, I know that Microsoft is probably slowly yet quietly, like, stepping away from the data centers play. And of course, with the layoffs, that's going to be interesting to see how that anywhere from $2 to roughly $4 billion has impacted their cash flows or their revenues. So, profit margins.
Okay. Just so you know, Mark, you are cutting out a little bit. I mean, you come back in, but it cuts in and out.
Hmm. Interesting.
Just giving you the heads up. I don't know what operation you got running in the background, but
Why are you telling my
okay.
business?
That's top
Somebody
tier.
asked a
Okay.
question. Would
Huh.
acquisitions cause stocks to fall? Yes. Simply
So pay
yes.
Okay. So
Because
that's a good roadmap to pay attention to. Is there Could you give us, I know you'll talk more about this like at the summit, but maybe a company to watch in this
okay.
regard.
Let's see here.
And I'm not saying this is a company to invest in necessarily. I'm just saying what all the disclaimers, are already out there. Okay. Like this is just a conversation. Due diligence is your best friend. But carry on.
A company to watch. Um, I'm gonna call a stock that I haven't mentioned before. I'm actually gonna go with Reddit.
Reddit. Okay, now say more.
I'm gonna go with Reddit on this one. Like I think that there's some things going on over there, but knowing y'all won't let me just slide like that. So,
Yeah, say more.
uh, um, okay. So one of the things that I'm noticing that Reddit is really unlocking into is a marketing tool for small businesses, especially for startups, to really get the word out and also build community. I definitely see that there's an AI play there as a creation and everything else down the road. Um, but I think that ultimately they have one of the best systems in which that people can communicate. And I'm just wondering, like, there's a lot of data there that sits within Reddit that essentially, if you apply artificial intelligence, especially even a large language model that's incorporated with Reddit, I think that that's going to be huge for businesses that want to market themselves, that want to reach out to folks, that want to engage with people on an organic level. I think that that's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, we're getting to the part where we're also going to see a lot of synthetic. And I think that, now that a lot of folks have trained a lot of the large language models, you're going to start seeing it, like you're already seeing it in video content, and probably even in Hollywood is probably going to be disrupted alongside with like music. Um, but yeah, I think that honestly, Reddit is a company that people need to be paying attention to.
Okay, noted. Now, let's look at this from, I don't know, I don't want to say that we're backing up a bit, but let's look at this like from the context of like the casual observer or someone who, pretty much knows that AI is going to help with leveraging whatever idea they have.
Yep.
Um, how how does that person, like, let's talk to that person. I don't know if we want
Okay.
to call them observer or trying to think of a better word for that person.
Your vibe observer.
I guess like they're not like they know it's, something that they should probably get into, but maybe their only interaction with AI might be, ChatGPT or, using it in that regard. Like, hey, you have a question or whatever. Like, how is that person gonna make major moves like within this phase of AI?
I mean, here's a business idea for the folks in which that have like gotten very good at like using LLMs and everything else and able to improve workflows and whatnot. There's a lot of businesses out there that have no idea of how to incorporate that. And so
Hmm.
you're going to probably see a lot of consultancy opportunities for folks that like are helping businesses, legacy businesses, improve their workflows. And so essentially, like, you know, bringing them into the 22nd century of using these tools so that way their businesses become a little bit more automated. I think that
Okay.
that's one of the next frontiers. Um, the average, like, honestly, and I'm going to issue this as a stark warning so that way you guys can understand the type of time that I'm moving on for the summit when it comes in September. You know, there is a storm coming. Um, and I think that honestly, like, watch higher education institutions,
Okay.
especially within computer science. Like pay very, very close attention, especially to your Ivy League schools. Um, because I think that they're like really, you have a lot of college undergrads that have like literally graduated and they're sitting there unemployed. You have a lot of computer science majors or folks that want to go into computer science, but now they're worried about like, okay, hey, well, what does that look like in an AI world where AI builds things? You know, what does that look like? We're still going to need engineers for sure, but I would be interested to see if higher education institutions are having to change their curriculum to match what the world looks like today and prepare their students for what the world will also be tomorrow. Um, if you're just a person that's just there just casually, if you're doing it casually and yet like let's say that you're making money in the markets and everything else, then keep doing your thing. Just stay in tuned as it pertains to what's happening. If you're not and you're just doing it as a vibe, then this needs to be your wake up call and say, look, your time is almost up. And you need to start acting with purpose. You need to start punching with purpose, moving with purpose, building with purpose, learning with purpose, because just knowing these things casually only gets you so far in a world that's becoming more and more competitive and also becoming more.
And cut out again. Say it again,
Oh,
Mark. You said in a world
oh,
that's becoming more competitive and becoming more, and then you cut out.
innovative, more and more innovative and upgraded.
Okay.
I think that honestly, it's like, really take this time as a moment to seize the opportunity, to seize the day in the sense that there's so much to learn, there's so much to explore. Even from a casual standpoint, just still explore. But like I said, explore with purpose here. Definitely
Yeah.
start exploring with purpose.
Well, I'm glad that you're saying that because honestly, you know how I feel about locking arms and solidarity with those of like mind to accelerate your success. And I feel like with the summit, that's some of the things that we've been talking about and kind of building into the summit is that opportunity to state what your purpose is. And maybe you're up leveling your purpose. Maybe you thought it was one thing, but then you're talking to, another attendant at the summit, and now all of a sudden you're thinking much bigger. And that's the type of time I feel like you got to think bigger, but then also there's this sense of urgency because getting back to like this hype cycle, right? You said that we were in the seventh inning, right?
Yep.
Okay,
We're in
you
the
know how I
seventh
am
inning.
sports metaphors. So there's 9 innings, right?
Yep.
Okay, go me. So what are the 8 and the 9?
You said what happens in 8 and 9?
Huh?
Um,
9 coming.
I mean, in the eighth and ninth innings, and essentially people start to really get honed. Like, okay, for example, the first sign of trouble is when people start like, wait till you start to see where people start having conversations about Nvidia's valuation, and they start
Okay.
debating about Nvidia's valuation of whether or not it's believable or not. Still,
And is that based on Nvidia talking a big game?
no, because I like and Jensen Wong is like, if Jensen Wong says that he's going to do something, he's going to do it, and you know look, I mean, it's not like he bats 1,000, but yet at the same token, he's still batting a very good average in the sense of success.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is markets tend to get exhausted. Both public and private markets tend to get exhausted. The best
Mm-hmm.
example that I could say for startups is look what happened in 2022 when cost of capital got high. And then we saw a lot of startups that were like literally trying to get funding and they couldn't close a single round. They had a lot of down rounds, and ultimately that was like literally it was a destroyer. Um, which we'll probably end up talking about that at the summit, by the way.
We definitely need to.
But then on the publicly traded markets, you start to see where people are just saying like the valuations given at the current conjecture and time, are they still believable? Like, okay, like if Nvidia gets to $5 trillion by year
Mhm.
end, will you believe that Nvidia is worth $5 trillion?
Okay, so
Or will you start having the conversation of, okay, this is a major short squeeze that's pulling the stock up to an
mhm.
astronomical value that we don't think that it's ready to serve or meet at? Like, it's easy for you to say that Apple could be a $4 trillion company because it brings in 100 billion every 3 months, like clockwork. Same thing for Microsoft. I mean, you can believe the valuation for Meta, given in the sense that I would really be watching to see exactly what does Meta's AI like truly fully do when it's fully cooked, because we haven't fully seen it cooked yet. It's those types of conversations that we'll probably be having soon. And that's when you're starting to like, when everybody's like, okay, hey, everybody's made a bag. So let me bring it to our world. Everybody that's in the chat, everybody in the room, we all made a bag, right?
mhm.
But we haven't made the bag yet because we got to walk out. But
Okay.
everybody, like, as long as we stay in the room, we all making money until we're all kind of like playing musical chairs until we start to say, okay, hey, is the music, is the money stopping or is it still going? Is it still flowing or is it stopping? And then we get to this part where we're like, okay, like, money's coming, but then like, look, my bags are full, your bags are full, and I'm looking around, everybody got full bags. Like, the question is like, okay, well, you start, like, when a person starts looking left or right, talking about who's it going to be into that last call. So I think that that's where we're probably going to head to, which is ultimately, and you need those moments in time because it's a way of keeping the markets honest.
Mhm.
Like, VCs got kept honest after the whole Silicon Valley Bank situation, and then also given in the sense that it cost the capital when we had an inflationary environment, you know, the venture capital and private equity markets like had to get honest, right?
Mhm.
We're probably going to see that happen for startups where you're going to sit back and say, okay, hey, are their valuations believable? Is this company raising at a valuation? The same thing on publicly traded company sides. This company that's like trading at this, times earnings or at this valuation or this market cap, is it still believable? Is it still believable? There's going to come that moment where we're going to have that moment in the sun.
Okay. That's good to put a note about. So I'm looking at the chat. That's why my eyes are like darting back and forth. I'm looking at the chat, and one of the things that's coming up is people are asking about whether we're going to stream the summit. And like I said, I think it was last episode, if we are able to bring forth the type of quality that we want to bring, then we will have select sessions
Yeah.
be streamed or at least available for view for a period of time. So we will get you more confirmation on that, like as we get closer to the date, because our primary objective is to make sure that the summit is great for those who are live and in person. So, I mean, not to say that the streaming is going to be an afterthought, not necessarily that, but we want to
But
make sure that those that are in the room, are taken care of first.
well, the whole idea of the summit, right, was
Mhm.
focused towards and literally have that kind of like intimate
Wait, Mark, I'm
setting.
sorry. You cut out. You said the whole point of the summit
Oh,
was focused.
the whole point of the summit was focused towards like having that intimate setting where essentially we could be in the same room with
Right.
people. That was the whole objective. I mean, you've seen us do so many different episodes on the Come Up series as it pertains to YouTube, but this allows, especially for me, to go deep into my bag and like literally like give you guys something that's, well crafted and everything else that's specifically for the people in the room. So, I get what you're saying, Jolene,
You cut
and I'm with you. What?
you cut out. You said, I get what you're saying, Jillian, and then you
Oh,
cut out.
I get what you're saying. But if we can if it's at that quality. But I mean, I've always thought of the summit of doing something in which that it's like in front of the people, acts like literally Because if that's the case, then why am I doing the summit?
Right, because like let's put this in context, because literally we went live from 2022
Yep.
with multiple episodes. Sometimes like in the beginning it was like twice a week. Then
Yep.
we went from 1 week. But that was from 2022 all the way up until what, 2024, I believe, or 2023. No, like 2020, midway of 2024. And we all that time people were waiting for something live and in person. And
Yep.
so this is the one time a year that
Months.
we both agree to be in the country, because y'all know I'd be dipping out, but to be in the country live and in person.
I'd be silently gone.
You know, and to really lay eyes on the come up cousins, like the ones, especially the OGs. Okay, like I love meeting like the ones that were there back in 2020, in the beginning of all this. And so this is like the one time a year that we do that. So again, the focus really is on those that are going to be there in person. And if we're able to make it work for some of the sessions, and I say sessions like with the parentheses around the S, so it could
Yep.
just be a session. If we're able to make it work, we will, and we'll give you more information on that. But first things first,
How is Jolin's Wi-Fi better than Mark's?
I'm at the office right now, but Mark has stuff running in the background for some of the other projects he's working on. So I feel like that's eating into his quality Wi-Fi.
I'm actually not even going through the wire right now. I'm actually going through Wi-Fi. So,
Okay.
Apologies.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's 5:03. We were supposed to go from 5. I know we got started late because of technical difficulties. But I do want to say that I'm really excited that y'all were able to join us on this Tuesday. And that there's so much more to go into detail with. And also I want to see, when would the ones that would be in the room get the schedule for flight purposes? Hit me up at Jolene GC at fromtheculture.co. And I'll let you know, but we'll be done on Saturday at approximately at 6 p.m. There may be an after party. That's why we kind of extended it to, 11ish or so, but you're not going to miss, Mark's keynote or anything like that. So officially we'll be done around 6, but then unofficially we might get into some shenanigans, but stay tuned.
And also this year, I'm actually doing 2 keynotes.
Yes, Mark has an amazing presentation that, basically you'll see, or you'll hear about it. Hopefully you'll see it for yourself. But last year was pretty good, because you talked about, the roadmap for the next, I forgot how many, was it for 2 years?
2026, for till the end of 2026.
Right. So if you were there for that, that's good on you. Your portfolio should reflect that. But this time around, not only is he going to track that money, if you would have taken the advice given, or the ideas shared, all that, where your portfolio could be now. King Josh, I'm a new investor, mainly in options. I'm heavy on the more knowledge, the better. Will the summit be beneficial for new investors?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounded like you should have had your shades on when you said that one. You're like,
I thought about it, but yes.
Yeah. So for sure, King Josh.
If you were at the summit, if you were at the summit last year and you saw like what was on my playlist.
Yeah. So there's definitely, because the come up cousins are investors first, right? So yes, that will definitely be a part for new investors. Uncle Charles, let's come to the summit and lead with some collaborations to make more money. Okay. Now this is what we need to be talking about.
Somebody read the assignment.
Okay. The solidarity in making a bag together. Like, come on now. So there will be opportunities you might have an idea, you might meet someone that has an idea, you guys collab, and then basically, the genius and the brilliance will be in the room. You know how we do and the level that the come up cousins are at. But for new investors, I do think that, if you're like brand new,
evergreen right now.
Well, I'm not sure what King Josh was like, what he was referring to, because he might be at, you know, he might be more advanced than he thinks. I don't know. King Josh, you'll have to let us know. But if you're like a brand new investor, this is not like investor 101. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. It's not. But that doesn't mean that you can't catch up, in time. So there's
Plus,
plenty of
like if you can't make it, then I'm probably sure that there's going to be some cousins there at the event that will be taking copious notes.
Oh, we have a message from Sam Khan. It says some of us can't get into the USA. That's real. That is real.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people from out of the country, like a lot of international cousins that were there last year. And I
Last year.
understand that, international travel, things have changed, immigration, all that kind of stuff, customs, all that kind of stuff has changed. But that's there'll be a recap, I'm sure, post summit. Again, it won't be in the same, depth, because we can't do that. It's not even the same vibe when you're just on a screen, y'all. Like, something happens when it is live and in person, like eye to eye, you know what I mean? So yeah, again, like I said, we're gonna do the best that we can to make things happen for all of our international cousins. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
We always do our best. So that's really all we can do is our best. Someone said I'm in there. So yeah, if you're just now tuning in, make sure you pound the replay, because yeah, you need to get your entire investor tech AI live. Well, Mark, what do you have to say in closing?
Keep building, and if you haven't built, definitely make it to the summit, because then it's themed is built to stay ahead. So, and my goal is to keep everybody ahead of the curve. So
Yeah,
hope to see you guys there. And of course, there's going to be other episodes, but I'm excited.
I mean, there's episodes leading up until So that's dang. Are we in August yet? We still in July? I'm already in August. I'm in the future right now.
I'm still in my birthday month, so
I'm
this
over your
is
birthday.
me coming into this 40 club. Look, it's been.
Yeah, you're gonna have orientation soon. Don't do me. Don't do me. We're gonna have orientation soon. Okay. There's some things that you have to know, Mark. It's different. It's different here. It's different.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Anyway, Mark thinks he's gonna come into the club causing trouble. Anyway,
of course. I mean, that's how we do it.
Yeah, so make sure y'all, hit the like button. Shout out to Seattle Tech Week again. Shout out to all the OG come up cousins, new cousins, everybody. So on both my mom's side and my dad's side, shout out to all the cousins. Now, Mark.
Yes.
I guess we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
Of course.
Early bird tickets actually end tonight.
Ooh, they close. They close, right?
Yeah. Tonight at 9. Yeah. 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Pacific.
Early bird tickets close. So then that way, essentially, you miss the heavy discount. I think VIP tickets are close to being sold out. So
yeah. So
yeah,
hop on that, because general admission is gonna start. You'll get the same things or I had to think about that, as early bird for general admission, but you'll get a discount with early bird, and we always have things in store for those who were first to get their ticket. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's
right. I think that this is a done data.
Yeah, I think it's a done data.
All right. They said, is there a code for a hotel? If you go to the techwealthsummit.com. Yeah, if you go to the techwealthsummit.com,
it's not a code.
You'll just see the link you'll see the link. We've already had the discount already built in.
Yes, but you have to go through the link in order to see the discounted prices said. But yeah, it's about 50% discount for a hotel downtown. So yeah. All right.
Next time, I'm Mark Monroe.
And I'm Jillian GC, and the place to be.
And this has been your come up. We will see you in 2 weeks. Don't forget, early birds close tonight, and make sure if you want to get those VIPs before they go out, go ahead and purchase them. But also, take heed to what we said as it pertains to AI. Until then, we'll see you guys in a few. Have a great evening. Be safe and also stay cool out there for those in the heat dome. Peace, y'all.